Welcome to another edition of Story Behind the Music. My name is Darren Story. So glad you're with us on this special Friday night edition of Story Behind the Music. It is my pleasure and honor to have BrownMark, bass player for the Revolution, to join us here on Story Behind the Music. How are you, Mark?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, I appreciate you coming back. We had a little bit of mix-up last week, but it's all good. We just leave that behind and all of that. So first of all, and every time because of the extremely strange circumstances we are living in today, I always ask my guests, how are you doing? You're staying safe. You're feeling good. Tell the audience how you doing.
I'm doing good, but I'm sick of being locked up. I feel like I'm in prison cell.
I know.
I'm on house arrest with an ankle bracelet,
Oh, I know. These are strange times. I'm just, it's hard to wrap my arms around this each and every day. And I'm just waiting for the day to wake up and that there's some sense of normalcy again in this world, man. But
exactly.
we're at a tipping point, that some changes needed to be made. And I'm hoping that this is not just another blip on the radar. How did this affect you guys? I mean, concerts gone, because you guys are rolling. I mean, you guys are playing a lot. So everything got canceled, I imagine. So how are you guys? Because I had Fink on several weeks ago.
Okay.
And he was on lockdown too, in his bunker or whatnot. So how do you guys get together and on Zoom and talk to one another, chop it up periodically?
Maybe they do. I've been trying to. I don't really communicate. Unless it's business, we're talking some business. But I think pretty much everybody's kind of doing their own thing right now.
Right.
Yeah. Right. We lost like every tour this year got canceled. So it's I kind of puts a hole in the pocketbook,
Yeah, dude, you have to get creative. You have to get creative during times like this. We're with BrownMark, Faces of the Revolution on Story Behind the Music. So I've been dedicating my shows, Mark, to the Minneapolis scene. You may not remember this, but Todd Hunter, also known as DJ Cowboy, introduced us at the Maserati concert.
Really?
At First Avenue back in 1987.
Oh, man.
And we had that big band Grand Jury back then.
Oh, you were in Grand Jury?
I was in Grand Jury.
What? Okay, I didn't know that, man. Grand Jury, that was one of my bands. I liked you guys.
Thank you. We were different, obviously, because we were a big, funk band with horns and all that.
Yeah, Marcus.
Marcus.
That's my boy right there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I was just wondering if I knew you knew Marcus and some of us, but I know that I was kind of like the guy that people knew Marcus because Marcus, right? So and shout out to Marcus if you're out there watching, man. But how did you come across the opportunity to play in the Revolution for Prince? Tell that story.
The opportunity, interesting because nobody knew where I had a band called Fantasy, little bar band, and nobody knew we rehearsed at the Way Community Center over north. I think they got a McDonald's a police station's there now. Yeah, they tore the Way down and built a police station. How ironic. But we used to rehearse there in the back, and nobody knew we were there because we weren't supposed to be there. But Randy Barber, the lead singer, he was one of the community center directors. So, he had the keys to the warehouse. So after hours, that's where we rehearsed. But I got a phone call one day, and right in the middle of rehearsal, janitor knocks on the door. He says, "There's a phone call for Mark Brown." Everybody just was looking, and they were like, "Nobody knows we're here. How do you have a phone call?" And I was like, I don't know. And I was getting scared. Are these the FBI or somebody looking at somebody coming after me? And so I say, I'll be right back. And I walk down this long hallway and I pick the phone up, and I'm like, who this? You know, I'm trying to be tough, because I didn't know who it was. I'm like, who
Right.
this?
That
And
is
he
just,
goes,
right?
yeah, he's like, this is Prince. I was like, I got real quiet for a second. I was like, this is who? He said, this is Prince. And I was like, yeah, whatever, man. I hung the phone up. I just slammed the phone down. I was like, whatever. Slammed the phone down. I'm walking out. Phone rings again. I turn back and I look. So I go back and I pick it up. I said, who this? He said, this is Prince, Mark. Don't hang up. He says, I want you to join my band. No, he said, I want you to come audition for my band. And I was like, I mean, you could hear some crickets. I mean, it was just
Oh, I
complete
bet.
silence. And I was like, this is really Prince. He said, this is Prince. I want you to come audition for my band. I was like, dang, man. I said, yeah, okay, okay. I said, what's the plan? What's the plan? He said, are you familiar with my albums? I was like, yeah,
Right.
yeah. He had 3 of them at the time. For You, forgot what that second one was.
It was just self-titled. It was just Prince.
Prince, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And
Dirty
then Dirty
Mind.
Nine.
So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know all your stuff. And he said, well, I didn't really know it, but I told him I did.
Right.
And he said, all right, learn every song and I'll have Bobby Z pick you up at 7-Eleven tomorrow at 7 p.m. I was like, wait, 7-Eleven, which 7-Eleven? He said, the one you work at. How do you know I work at 7-Eleven? I'm like, what did you do?
Oh my God.
Did you put a spy out? I mean, you've been trailing me or something? How did he know I
Wow.
worked at 7-Eleven? So I was like, I didn't say nothing to him, but I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And that's how it started. Bobby picked me up the next day and off we were.
Now, did you learn every song?
Basically, yeah.
Basically? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, bar bands, man, you kind of learn the outline of a song and then you improvise,
That's right.
So long as I knew the changes and what key they were in, and nothing else mattered. So
That's right.
yeah.
So, by the way, we're on with BrownMark from the Revolution, bassist, and we were talking about when he first joined the band. So, what was the audition like? I think the same thing. What was the audition like?
Now, I mean, there really was no audition. I
You just
mean,
fell in.
I go over there. We go down in his studio, and we played all but 10 minutes. I mean, he's like, let's jam on this. And so, he was going through songs really quickly. We played like literally 15, 20 seconds of a song. And he's like, okay, let's, this? I said, yeah. We start jamming on it for about, another 20, 30 seconds. And I was like, wow, this is weird. What kind of audition is this? And it's just me, Bobby, and Prince. And so, we did that for about 10, 15 minutes maybe. And he goes, okay, that's enough. And he looks at Bobby, he says, I'll take him home.
Mm.
Now, I'm thinking to myself, oh man, what did I just get myself into? What do you mean you'll take me home? I'm going back with Bobby. Bobby brought me here. I'm going back with Bobby. And the funny thing is, before we got there, Bobby is like, you sure you want to do this, man? I said, what do you mean? Am I sure I want to do this? He kept asking me that. You sure you know what you're getting yourself into? So I was scared to death, anyways. Well, I wasn't scared, but I was
like you were about to join a cult.
yeah, man. I was like, man, I hope I ain't got to beat this dude up or something, It was crazy. And so, that's how the audition went. Prince disappeared for about, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, disappeared upstairs in the house somewhere. And I'm sitting there by myself. And here he comes down the steps all dressed up. And he's like, all right, let's go. And I was like, this is weird. And so I was like, all right, we get in the car. He starts playing me the new album, Controversy.
Wow.
And I'm just blown away because I mean, this dude's stereo is sick. I mean, he got like 2,000 watts in there and he's just blowing my ears out. You know, we're driving down the street and he's letting me hear all this stuff. And then we're done. He's like, what do you think? I said, wow. I said, it's different. I said, it's very different. And he's like, well, I'm just letting you know, you have the job if you want it. But I want you to take till Monday and get back to me and let me know. I was like, I ain't gotta wait till Monday. I can tell you right now, I want the job. And it, you know, it wasn't even you got the job. He says, how did he put it? I want you to join. I said, I want you in my band. So I want you to let me know if you want to do it. And I'll give you till Monday to let me know. You know, so I thought it was all strange to me. 10-minute audition. He knew everything about me. It's crazy. Yeah.
But as we've gotten to know him over the years, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
He was a tactician.
Exactly. He knows what he wants, and he was calculated and very meticulous, and he mapped everything out accordingly. You know, that genius mind.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating as I talk to people that knew him, and of course we didn't know him like you guys knew him, but I always thought of him as someone who, like you said, he knew what he wanted, and I think one of the things that he was never really given enough credit for was his business acumen.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was brilliant.
Yeah, he was. He thought outside the box.
Yeah.
You know, he was like James Brown. I mean, I think he got a lot of it from James Brown because he was exactly like that. You know, he was like, who said I can't do that? You know,
right.
That's how James wrote. He said, no, we can do it that way. We're going to do it. Who's going to stop me?
That's
you
right.
know, everybody scratching their heads like, we never thought of this before. That's how Prince was. Came up with the idea and he mapped it out and he worked it through. It wouldn't stop till it was done.
Incredible. Incredible. Your first show. Do you remember it? Do you remember where you were? Do you remember how it went?
First show, you're talking about
with Prince, with the Revolution.
The Rolling Stone show or the practice show?
Whichever your first show was. Now, Finn told me about Rolling Stones. I think he told the story about that, but was that your first show?
That was my very first show with Prince. We did a practice show at First Avenue prior to that show. And that was just to get us ready for the show because that was my first gig, you know, and I'm new. And so we did a little First Avenue thing. But Rolling Stones basically was my first show.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So can you remember how you felt going into that show? Were you, and there's always, to me, I still to this day, if I get on stage, there's some butterflies that I still have. I mean, it's not like I'm nervous, but it's like I'm present. What was it like for you?
I didn't have no butterflies, but I needed a diaper. I mean, you know, the Rolling Stones, really? I mean, 90,000, it was 90,000+ people. We're talking bikers, tattooed bikers, and, you know, the crazy mob, you know, and I was like, what are we doing playing for the Stones? And so that very first show, man, I remember going in, getting out the limo, and we went through this whole forest of tents. It was like tent city, white tents everywhere,
right?
That led to the stage. And then when we hit the stage, it was this massive, massive roar, this thunderous roar of people. And I looked out there, you saw people, flags going back and forth and people screaming, women on top of guys' shoulders with no shirts on. I mean, it was the wildest thing I ever seen. And then you had guys standing on the side spraying them down like cattle with big fire hoses. I ain't never seen nothing like it in my life. They're spraying the people down. And so we start playing, and there's that roar because nobody knows who we are. And, they hear a drum beat, they get happy. Man, after a couple songs in, I was like, oh, I don't know. This ain't turning out so good, because things start flying up on the stage. I mean, I'm dodging bag of chicken. My bass got hit with a grapefruit and knocked it out of tune. It was a big old grapefruit right in the keys of my bass, dripping.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And there was Jack Daniel bottles and tennis shoes and bras, panties, everything you could think of in a closet was coming up on the stage.
How much did you guys get through?
I don't remember. You're talking.
Were you able to
years.
finish, or
No,
you didn't finish?
We never got through a whole set.
Wow.
Not that I remember. I remember just looking back, and they were gone. Everybody was gone. Prince got hit upside the head with like a quarter or something, and everybody was gone. I'm standing there. I looked around. I was like, everybody was gone. And so I just dropped my bass. Yeah, by myself. I dropped the bass, started booking.
Wow.
I'm dodging stuff. I'm like, here comes the shoe.
They leave the rookie out there. They leave the new guy out there.
Rookie. I was getting hit with tennis shoes and boots, everything.
Well, one thing we do know that things obviously made a turn for the best eventually with you guys. So let's move forward to get away from that tour. And then the Controversy album had that already dropped?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are doing, you get that tour where it's just you guys and the time and all of that. I think the time and the Revolution's battle or competition is well documented as far as legend has it. But you knew those guys already, of course.
Yeah.
Morris and all those guys.
Yeah.
Did you ever play with them before?
Now, the time I did. The time used to be Flight Time, a group called Flight Time. My band Fantasy used to play. We used to do a little mock battle of the bands. It was just called that because we generate cash flow. We'd do little clubs, and we would take the door, and that's how we made our money. And we was hustling. And so me and Terry Lewis, we knew each other very well because he was basically the administrator of that whole situation, and then I mainly dealt with Fantasy. And so we would make money that way. Alexander O'Neill used to sing on and off in my band Fantasy.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was we had him as a lead singer. But he bounced around quite a bit. Sue Ann Caldwell,
Absolutely. Buki.
Yeah, we had Buki. We had Alberta and Randy Barber. So I mean, we had singers. We bounced around. But that's how I knew, Jelly Bean and Monty, and that's how I knew all these guys. Batman. Cynthia Johnson. I mean, everybody.
It's a lot of people, a lot of talent concentrated in that one space.
Yeah.
So, when you guys are finally on your own and you start seeing, when did you know, Mark, that Prince, you guys, that this stuff is about to blow up? When did you start getting that sense that something special was about to happen?
I knew the minute I heard the stuff because it was so different, but yet so edgy and powerful. And, I remember when he, shortly after, I was in the band and he was talking to me in private and he said, if this album doesn't work, they're going to drop me from the label.
Oh.
And I remember when he told me that, and I was just like, that's strange. And I guess that was his last record. And so that was his re-sign time. So everything was contingent on that album. And So I looked at him and I was like, I don't think you had too much problem with this record flopping, bro. But you could tell, he was a little on edge a little bit because he wasn't sure at the time. But man, the minute I heard it, let's work, please. Controversy, that junk was banging.
Yeah, I don't think there was any doubt when I was Controversy the first single from that record. Yeah,
yep.
that was the first single from that record. And I heard that on the radio, and I'm like, this is on another level.
Yeah,
I mean, this is on another plane from what he had done his previous 3 records, especially. And Dirty Mind was like a punk rock record.
yeah.
So, but how he was able to bridge into mainstream funk R&B,
that's what he did.
Still had that edge.
Yeah, that's what he did. That was the plan. He had that mapped out since Dirty Mind. That was his plan. And he didn't let nobody tell him how he was going to do it. See, he did it his way, and that's why it worked. You got to go against the grain, man. You can't, if everybody is jumping off the cliff, well, it's obvious it's the end of the road. So Prince was smart enough to realize, wait a minute, I got to make a turn right here.
Right.
I ain't jumping off the cliff with everybody else. And so he was that farsighted where he knew how to maneuver his own career and make those turns.
Incredible. BrownMark's on with us on Story Behind the Music. And then the follow-up to Controversy, of course, is the double album, 1999, a double album, which they had really stopped doing those very much, even in the 80s.
Yeah.
Big thing in the 60s and 70s, but the double album was kind of like, who does this? Nobody does double work.
Well, Prince,
Yeah, but Prince, right? So he got rewarded. He rewarded Warner Brothers with Controversy and a hit record, and then he gets rewarded with being able to do 1999. So again, his process of creating sessions, he writes stuff. I learned this week, Mark, that I Can Never Take the Place of Your Man. He actually wrote that back in like 78 or 79, and then he records it in 86, 87. Some of the stuff that he pulled out, was that old stuff that he might have written late 70s? Did you witness any of that type of?
Because I was new coming in with the Controversy, 1999, I had very little, participation in the creation of it. But he used Lisa a lot and Matt. A lot of people have this misconception that Prince wrote all this stuff himself. I mean, Prince he gleaned off the people that he centered himself around. That's why he would center himself around certain musicians, certain types of people. And then he would just archive it, and then he would pull it out at a later date. But the way he was, once he took possession of something, it's his.
Right.
You can kiss it goodbye. So it didn't matter what kind of parts you had on it. Right. It's his now. So
I'm commandeering this song, by the way.
Yeah. So he wrote music constantly because he centered himself around people that he fed off of. They fed the beast. And like Andre Simone, he'll tell you stories about a lot of work that he did, a lot of music that he helped write. And then so that just continued on throughout that 1999 double album. But then when it got to the Purple Rain album, see, now he made a shift, and that's when he formed the revolution. It was complete. He knew exactly what he wanted, and now everybody was participating in the creativity of that record. That's why it had such a different thing happening with it.
It was very diverse.
Exactly.
It bounced around. When I think about, just think about When Doves Cry. Okay. Yeah. And then you think about Take Me With You.
Yeah.
That's such a Shit. And then you go to Darling Nikki. And then you go to Computer Blue, where you just go straight out and just rock it out on an instrumental.
Yeah.
And all of that. So that but for whatever reason, it all fit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It all fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
So since you that Purple Rain, he comes to you and says, "We're making a movie," right? Is that what he says? We're making a movie.
Yeah, Mark, we're making a movie. I was like, making a what? I was like, what, you Elvis Presley now? You can't just be the king. You got to make movies now. You know, you want to be a movie star.
I know, right?
You know, I was like, what you going to do? Take some acting classes? Sure enough, he had us in acting classes. I was like, this dude is serious.
Yeah.
I was like, me? Acting classes? I was like, no, I ain't no kind of actor. I don't even got to play around with it. I can't act.
Is there a BrownMark acting piece on the cutting room floor?
Yeah, he cut it all off. He sliced it out, like he carved it out like a shadow. You know, all you saw was my silhouette, me looking at my watch. Cut all my junk out.
What do you remember any of your lines?
No.
No.
They were all corny anyway, so I didn't really care. I was like, I don't even talk like that. I'm reading the script. I'm like, I don't even talk like that, man. You know. So.
I think some people thought you didn't talk at all.
Exactly. Well, you know, that was by design too.
Yeah. Like, does this ever talk? Well, I knew you talk when we met you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, okay, because you had a band, you know. So like, okay, well, you know, so we knew you talk, but I think a lot of people really did think you were mute.
Yeah,
all you did was play bass.
That was by design.
When did people
BrownMark
actually
talk?
Well,
He's just brown,
brown
and plays the bass.
So Purple Rain happens. Now, what a lot of maybe big Prince fans know this, but average people who love the music from that record, there was a concert you guys did in August of 1983 at First Ave, in which y'all played a lot of that stuff that was on the Purple Rain album.
Yeah.
And some of that, the Purple Rain performance is actually the guts of it is what was put on the album. Is that correct? Guts of that?
I mean, I've heard that, but I don't think so. But I mean, some people say that the way Prince worked is you never knew, because there'd be like 25 different versions of Purple Rain. We played it so much. How do you know which recording he actually took, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we played that song a million times, just along with the other stuff. There were
before anybody else even had heard it.
There were recording trucks all the time. At rehearsal, there was recording 48 track. I mean, reels were always spinning. So it's hard to tell where he gleaned, where he edited that stuff from, because he had plenty of it.
The guitar solo, there's a video of that show out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the guitar solo went on for like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
The song lasted a little over 13 and a half minutes or something like that. And there was another verse in that song that I never knew. It wasn't very good. And I see why he took it out, because it didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But that was a great thing about going to First Avenue.
It was our testing ground.
Try it out on the peeps right there. It's like, oh, okay, so this is what I need to do. This is what we need to do.
We did. That's how we rolled. We used to do these, what did they call them? Oh man, Hucky would know. They had a
Hucky's out there watching, I think.
Yeah. There was a name for him, but we used to do these shows where it would be like 12 noon. And he would
pop up somewhere?
Yeah, he would announce on the radio, Prince gonna be at First Avenue tonight.
Y'all did that. I was living there when we were living there. Y'all did that for the Round the World in a Day record.
Did that for a lot of stuff. A lot of our test gigs, we did that. That's how he would do it. There'd be a line around the block going down the street. Them tickets be sold out in a couple of hours.
Here's your answer. right
Yeah.
there. You see it on the screen. He said, "Hey, matinee." He did a matinee show.
Matinee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were we just did them quick. It was like the last minute. Nobody knew nothing. We didn't even know. He called us up and said, we gigging at First Avenue tonight. We're like, dang, man, you can't let a brother. What if I was like planning a steak dinner or something, eat some ribs or some barbecue or something? Forget it. We
Nope.
playing tonight and we had to be there at 4 o'clock sound check. That would always last till doors open, 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Incredible.
And then the
Yeah,
gig.
you guys will pop up and you're right. They go on KMOJ or something or on the radio and
Well, every radio.
every radio station.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're watching the Revolution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Playing their new album.
Absolutely.
I mean, the one at First Ave Around the World in a Day, he came out on stage and he just walked out and he cleared his throat and he said, we haven't practiced for a while.
Lying.
Yeah, he said we hadn't practiced for a while, so we're gonna play everything we know.
Yeah.
And then it started off with the intro to Around the World in a Day. And y'all got into it, and of course, y'all killed.
That's all we did is practice. No, we're not. I got to take that back. We never practiced. We rehearsed.
There's a difference.
Because he didn't. If he walked on stage and said we haven't practiced in a while, I'll be surprised. I'm pretty sure he says we haven't rehearsed in a while. Because I tried that crap one time. I said, "Yo, Prince, see you tomorrow. I practice." It was like, he said, "Practice. Hold up. Mark just said practice." He said, "Let me tell you something, Mark. We don't practice. We rehearse. You ever say that around here again, you gonna be at home practicing by yourself." I mean, because he didn't like that word.
Yeah.
You practice at home. You rehearse when we get together.
When we come to work.
Yeah.
He was a consummate perfectionist, and I don't know if anybody worked harder than him.
Yeah.
Ever. And to witness that. So now Purple Rain blowing up. You guys are playing on the Grammys. I mean, he is a bona fide star. You guys are a bona fide world international act. The Purple Rain tour, you guys were out for how long? 6 months?
Gosh, I don't remember. It had something like that. We were out there a long time.
Y'all were playing a lot. Absolutely. I remember looking back at the schedule. You guys were playing a lot.
Every night.
How do you do that? And him, especially with his physicality, his voice, he had to have played sick sometime. And I can't believe that you don't go through that long of a tour and not come down with something, especially with a voice like his.
Sick. That was an excuse. If you was sick, man, don't even say nothing. You just hang that up. I remember having a temperature of 102, 103. He's like, and? I was like, dang, man. I said, dang. I mean, I just got done, tossing my cookies. I was like, I'm sick. He said, and? Better take some Pepto-Bismol and get up on the stage and play. So, that was an excuse. So if even if he was sick, he didn't care. The show must go on. That was his motto. That was his MO. That's what we did. But being on the road that long for that length of time was a yearly thing for us. It was constant. So
did you like the road?
I hated it. And I'm just fortunate I didn't get hung up in drugs or nothing, because I totally understand what happens to a lot of these musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that life, you got to turn to something,
right,
to offset the you almost go crazy. I mean, it's like same hotel, same old room. I'm on the road again. Journey, the hit song from Journey.
Yeah,
that is exactly what happens. And then so you start. My best friend became the bottle. I started drinking, and that's how I coped. A lot of other cats did, drugs and stuff. I didn't get into that. But yeah, being on the road that long, you start finding vices to attach to so that you can get through it.
That's serious stuff, man. I can tell you from our career did not, once we matriculated from grand jury into turning into low key with Jimmy and Terry them, we did not, of course, achieve the success. But I can tell you the sample size that I had of the road.
Yeah,
you can take it.
You
can have it, man. It was fun at first, like when you first jump in, and it's like, yeah, and you going all over the world and seeing all these places, you meeting all these girls, and but after a while, it does turn into every hotel room looks the same.
Yeah.
Every meal tastes the same.
Yeah. Every groupie looks the same.
Everything looks the same.
Yeah.
And you just want to be out of it.
Yeah.
Hey, man, appreciate you just being vulnerable like that, man, and sharing that with folks, man.
I'll be keeping it real.
That is real because people romanticize about our life.
That,
man. And there's a lot of people that pay prices for fame, i.e. the person that we've been talking about. We're on with BrownMark of the Revolution. So now we're kind of going through time and we're getting close, but I want to talk about you and Maserati. So because we were there, the 80s were awesome, and you could wear makeup and eyeliner and all that stuff, and chicks still dug you and all of that. It's all good. But what was the when did you say that, hey, I want to put a band together and produce this band? And is Maserati your entire concept?
Yeah, it was my concept from 1981. When I joined Prince's band, I was in the studio myself, trying to find my own way, so everybody was doing it. Minneapolis was hot. So I was in fantasy band, but I was in the studio recording music, learning how to write and produce myself. So Maserati, when I decided I was going to stick with Prince, this dude was on his way up. And, my mother used to always tell me, stick with what you know. This a one in a lifetime shot.
Mm-hmm.
Ride that wave. Yeah, you want to do your own thing, but you know what? Find an alternative. Live vicariously through that, but ride this wave, because this is going straight to the top. And so that's what I did. I put together Maserati so that I could continue this path, but I lived vicariously. Maserati was me. You saw 7 me's on stage, because that's what it was. That's what I would have become had I left Prince. I would have been Maserati's lead singer, and I would have just followed that path.
So that's totally dope, man.
Yeah,
totally dope. So you were kind of able to have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But you still long to be a front man, or you care about that anymore?
I mean, I didn't know anything about it much. I just knew that I had the passion to be an artist. I mean, I'm an entertainer.
Right.
And so bass, I was a bass player, but that wasn't necessarily what I wanted to end up doing. But I just wanted to entertain. I was a big Michael Jackson fan. So I had high hopes for myself, even though I didn't have half that talent, but I had the high hopes. And so what I did was I started learning how to sing, because I never sang before I got in Prince's band. Well, that's not true. I sang a couple songs in fantasy, but I wasn't a singer. And so I had to really teach myself how to even do that. So being with Prince was safe.
Yeah.
Because this dude could do it all. And I was like, man,
you just play your part.
Yeah. I'm like, why am I gonna go out here and try to do something when I could be a part of something that's working, So yeah, but Maserati came out pretty good too.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that show we saw him in First Avenue. They killed.
Oh yeah.
They killed.
Yeah, I used to beat them boys up, man. We'd be down at my mom's house They'll tell you stories. I used to beat them up.
Somebody need to cover 100 miles per hour, man. That song still.
Oh, I'm gonna come back out with it.
Oh,
I'm gonna cover it.
that song still kills Mark. Oh,
I gotta remake of that's busting.
really?
Yeah.
Let me know.
I'm just waiting for the right time.
That song, that song's a hit. I mean, when I play it now, I'm like, wow, that song's funky.
The way it is now, it's even hits harder. The way
Really?
I got it now, yeah, it hits harder.
Wow.
We do that live in our set.
Oh, the Revolution?
No, my band,
Your band.
BrownMark and the Bad Boys of Paisley.
Okay.
So we do that live, and we kill it. Yeah, 100 miles an hour. We be bumping that.
That song is so dope, man.
Yeah.
That's first song. I think it was Marcus that brought home the tape or something, man. He said, man, you need to listen to this. It's funky.
Yeah, that was tight.
Like, man, totally. So, the last record you did was the Parade record.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does he let you know that the tea leaves, reading the tea leaves, that he's ready to make this departure from certain people or a certain style? Because it seemed like if you look at his career, Mark, that there were I don't know, maybe exit ramps where he's on this road, then he decides he's going to take this exit ramp and he goes another way. You know, the Parade album was a big. He got this huge band. It's like looks like kind of like Funkadelic and Kid Funkadelic. The only thing we didn't have was Kid Funkadelic running around in a diaper, but horns and all of this. James Brown's dancers with Jerome and all of that. Does he let you know that, hey, you know, I might be changing just one day, or what was it? Or what was the departure like for you?
Well, I'm gonna break the common misconception on what happened to the Revolution right now.
Let's do it. Let's do it. That's why I have you on, because I like truth.
I quit Prince and the Revolution after Purple Rain. So he did not want me to leave. And so he put me under contract and a gag order not to tell anybody. So Around the World in a Day in the Parade record, I was contracted in silence. So he knew after Parade tour, I was done. He knew I was gone. And at that point, you know, things got really weird. Me and his relationship was always a strain, but it got even weirder, you know, near the conclusion of that.
Why is that? Why is that, Mark?
You know, I really can't tell you. I don't know. I just know that for me, it was time to go. You know, I had done all I could do at that point. I've given my contribution that was it. I was done. It's like, okay, I need to do something new now. I need to start looking at Mark and what Mark needs to do for his career and his life. And that's why I wrote this book around that same time period. I started a book, My Life in the Purple Kingdom. And then I just started telling this story about what had happened to me and how I got to this place. And because it was therapy for me, because I had gone through so much and I didn't know how to process all the pain I was dealing with. There's a lot of internal stuff. And so, you know, most people know I have a book out now, or actually it's coming out in September, My Life in the Purple Kingdom. And it tells that story about that departure. And it goes into very, very good detail why that departure happened. And then I think 6 months after that tour, that last Parade tour, he disbanded the Revolution.
Right.
So why he did that, I don't know. But all I know is he knew I wasn't coming back. And then a few weeks after that, he called me up and asked me to be in the NPG.
He called you back he wanted you in the NPG?
I was like, dude, I just left the Revolution. Why am I gonna get in the NPG? I said, I said, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. And so he was like, he's like, I understand. And I think from that point forward was when he and I really connected, because at that point he had nothing but respect for me.
Mm.
And I think it was because finally in life I stepped up and said, I got to do my own thing. And I think Prince really respects when you do that. When you can look at him and say, no, because I'm doing my own thing. He really, he has a deep respect for people that do that, because our whole relationship changed from that point forward.
That is so interesting.
My
But
bank account was still empty, but it's still our relationship changed.
we're over broke BrownMark on Story Behind the Music. So you walked away from it, and I totally get that. I mean, that seems like that's Prince's MO, that um that you stand up to him,
Yeah.
because most people didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people wouldn't. Why would you?
Yeah.
You're rolling with Prince.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
I
the
And the thing is, I didn't stand up to him at first because my journey was different. It was about learning. It was about absorbing and becoming a soldier. I was a soldier, and I did what the general told me to do. I marched to the beat. And if he told me to go left, I went left. If he told me to jump and bark like a dog, that's what I did, because that's what it was going to take to get him to reach the pinnacle that I knew he was reaching for.
right.
And so I accepted that early on. And so I was a soldier and I played that out. But when it got to a point where enough was enough for me, because there was a lot of a lot of broken promises in there,
Mm,
and
yeah,
you can only dangle a carrot in front of me for so long, and then I start realizing I'm never going to get anywhere. And so I made that choice to just move on. And then it was a good choice. It
yeah.
was a very good choice, because my relationship with him then became really cool. We went into this deeper kind of a friendship thing. And even with business, he started giving me pointers. He even helped me out on my Motown record, and he tried to get in there and really start helping me. So our relationship changed, and I had a huge successful business deal with Motown. So as a producer and a writer, and so you know I mean, it was just a good move for me, and so everything worked out in the end.
That's great. I mean, sometimes endings are beginnings.
Exactly.
Endings are beginnings, and we have to embrace that wherever we can. And I know I can't imagine uh, what it's like to walk away from, in many people's opinion, in my opinion too, the greatest that ever did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, from top to bottom, in the totality of an entertainer and a musician
Yeah.
and songwriter, I think he's the greatest to ever do it.
Absolutely.
But how I mean, why would you walk away from that? And that took a lot of courage for you to do that, and understanding who you are and what you wanted to get to. So
I just looked at my checkbook.
You looked at your check.
I looked at my checkbook, realized I had to get moving. I got to do something else.
Gotta take care of yourself. I mean, there's lots of stories. Jimmy and Terry have told us stories about the paycheck, the checkbook, being a little light.
Yeah. People think that oh man, the revolution, they got, they making money, they got rich. Prince and the Revolution, they rich. I made all my money when I left the band. So
Wow.
yeah, it for people that know me, it ain't too hard to figure out why I left. I was ready to buy a new house. I was like, I need to get me a new house. Prince, I want a house like yours, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm tired of paying rent.
I know, man. So let's fast forward. And you said your relationship with him definitely changed, became more of peer to peer,
Yeah,
friend to friend,
yeah,
than general soldier. Did you notice that he was also changing, maturing? Because one of the things that I noticed about him as he got older, it seemed that he had loosened up a little bit, that he had maybe come to terms with, I don't need to be this mysterious dude anymore. I just want to make music, make people happy, and uh, he let people see another side of his personality. As you know, he's quite the prankster, and likes to joke around a lot. Did you see him morph into something a different type of Prince as he got older?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't grow?
Oh,
It's
I know some people that have not grown. Trust me.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
50 years old, and you acting like you're in high school. Come on, man.
yeah. Well, yeah, some people just don't acquire wisdom, but you acquire wisdom as you get older. And so you keep um you when you're a guy like Prince who absorbs and gleans off many people
Right.
that come in his path, he knew it was time. He knew it was time. Yes, you can pre-order the book. Somebody just made a
Yeah.
comment.
Yes, you
So
can.
yeah,
We'll tell them where you can
yeah.
pre-order the book. Yes, Carla, you can pre-order the book. He would love you to do that right now.
No, but it was a thing where um, when you're creative and you want to keep growing like he did, you have to center yourself around different types of people.
Mhm.
And so that's what he did. And so when after Parade, it was like, well, he doesn't have the same band anymore. I was gone, and so it wasn't the same band. Even today, the Revolution is the five of us.
Mhm.
You take one of us away, it's just a different baby. See, it
Right.
doesn't work the same. And so I think he knew that. And I think that, yeah, okay, now it's time to build something new because he was trying to, it was Matt Fink, it was Levi, uh, Miko Weaver, Brown Mark, and Sheila E on drums.
Mhm.
That was going to be a funky band, but I
Yeah.
just couldn't do it. And so he moved Levi over to bass. And that's how that came about. But that's him reinventing himself. And he was very good at that. Every single crossroad, Prince would reinvent himself and move into new territory.
Outstanding. Looks like you're getting some pre-orders, man. Love it.
I hope I don't lose you here. My looks like my battery's dying.
Well, we'll get ready. Hopefully, we'll close here. We've got about 7 minutes left to the top of the hour mark, and so since we're at the close, I have to ask you. There's the link. You got somebody helping you out there. There's a link to Mark's
Oh,
book.
there it is.
Boom.
Chuck Early, my man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna plug this up because if
Plug
I
it up.
don't, I'm gonna lose you. Okay, hold on.
Okay. So with that being said, while Mark's plugging this up, put a little. Of course, I do not own the rights to this music, and you're watching Story Behind the Music with BrownMark from the Revolution. As we continue to talk about the GOAT, Prince, and also we're going to find out more about what Mark's up to. And you can pre-order his book on Amazon. It's called My Life in the Purple Kingdom. My Life in the Purple Kingdom. Go to Amazon and you can pre-order the book right now. Great.
There we
Welcome
go.
back. Yeah, we didn't want to lose the transmission just when it's getting good. So, April 21st, 2016, where were you?
Wow. I was just waking up out in California. I was living out in Cali. And my boy Hucky called me up and said, I think something happened at Paisley. And, you know, I could tell by his voice that, it was something bad. He said, I'm going to call you back. As soon as I got some confirmation what it is, I'm not sure, but all the police are out there and everything. And so he calls me back about 15 minutes later, and he's like, he's gone. He's gone.
Mm.
And I remember my heart just dropped. I was like, what do you mean he's gone? And he said, Mark, they found him. He's gone. And so, you know, that I remember I hit such a low point. I cried for about 3 days.
Mm.
And then I just went and I got on an airplane and I flew out to Minneapolis. I didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew. And the revolution met me out there. We all kind of gathered together out there, and we didn't get invited to the funeral. I'm still mad about that, but you know, we didn't get invited. And so we kind of formed our own thing at I think it was the Lowe's Hotel downtown. They gave us a floor, and all the PRN alumni, all the people that worked on Purple Rain, well, basically from Controversy all the way to Parade, that whole era, all the people that worked during that time period, we all kind of assembled up there. So it was over 100 of us up there, and that's how we healed each other. We just gathered together, we talked, reminisced, and mourned his death, because it was horrible. That was a tragedy
of epic proportion.
Yeah.
I told this to Matt, and when I spoke with Fink, and he agreed with me, and I'm going to see what you think about this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've lost Michael, we've lost Whitney, you know, in black music, we've lost Luther. I mean, we've lost some great ones, but I still believe that this one is the hardest, has been the hardest for people to reconcile. And I think one of the reasons why I believe it is because he was still doing it at a high level. I mean, he wasn't a shell of himself, and he was emerging to me to come out on another side of his career. I mean, he's approaching his 60s, but and I still can't believe he's gone, man.
Yeah. Me neither. It trips me out. Some days, you know, when I'm playing with the Rev and we on stage, you know, I sing a lot of the you know, a lot of his parts, you know, a lot of the stuff that he sang, and it's hard, you know, because you know, you look in the center. That's why we deliberately, you notice there is no microphone or anybody in the center,
in the middle,
unless Stokely comes out. And he's kind of back a little bit because it's just that respect.
That's right.
You know, so we keep that space because that will never be filled. You can't fill that space. And our job isn't to go on stage and our job isn't to go on stage and say, you know, look what we did. No. Our job was to go on stage and help people heal some of the pain that they were going through. We knew what we were going through, and the only way to speak to the people was through the music.
Yeah.
And so we knew we had to go out and play. We just didn't know how we were going to do it. Everybody was living their own lives. And so to pull that back together, that was a monumentous, it was just a mountainous task. I mean, it was huge to pull that back together and be able to pull that production and everything together and be able to deliver that show on the caliber that we bring it to people. Because
so it wasn't like riding a bike.
No, it's like a replica of the way we did it in the 80s. That was the beauty about what we did. And it was to help people heal from such a tragic event, you know, tragedy.
This world is still reeling.
I mean,
the aftermath is so visceral.
Yeah.
And I think people still wake up. Most people wake up. If you're a Prince fan, you wake up and you're like, you're gonna turn on the TV or something, or he's going to be coming to your town.
Absolutely. I was watching Pretty Woman last night, and she's singing "Kiss in the Tub," and it just,
yeah,
you know, brings back a lot of memories, good and bad, you know. But it just brings back a lot of stuff, you know.
So let's talk about the five of you and how you. What did you guys came together? You came to Minneapolis in the aftermath, but the five of you together alone. Not that I need to get all into your business, but what was that like for you guys to be together in the midst of this tragedy, and how cathartic has it been for all of you to be able to play the music again, even though it's without him?
A lot of crying, a lot of crying, a lot of anger, a lot of happiness. It was a roller coaster of emotions for all of us, fighting and bickering. I mean, we were like the Brady Bunch. I mean, it was like, you know, you know, because each one of us experienced him differently. Each one of us had our own
You had your own relationship with him, right?
yeah, because that's how Prince was. You know, yeah, we had a group relationship, but each one of us had an individual thing with him. And so when we all came back together, there was a lot of mixed emotions about a lot of stuff because we didn't know how to process it.
Right.
Nobody expected that to happen. Prince had called me out to Paisley on numerous occasions just to jam, just to see if he could put together a new sound or a new group. Man, he'd fly me out from Timbuktu and had me sitting up in a hotel for 3, 4 days before we even started, you know. And but that's the relationship I had with him. And then I had a spiritual relationship with him because, you know, me and him shared the same faith. And so there was a lot of things that me and him had in common now, especially our friendship. You know, all the past had been mended and me and him became tight like that. And so, but I still had a lot of anger. See, there's a lot of things that I still had planned to confront him on and get my own healing from, you know, as with other band members. And we never got to do that. See, and then what made it was so bad was we never got to say goodbye. That's what made me the maddest because here we are, the freaking revolution, and we couldn't be invited to that funeral. I was so angry because I got my freaking picture on a mural at Paisley Park. I'm up on the wall, and you can't invite me to the funeral. So there was a lot of anger in me. There still is a lot of anger, but I'm hoping that I'll get past that one day, you know. And but that's why we play.
You still don't know. You still don't know why.
No,
you still don't know why.
No, we don't know why. I have my theories, you know, but we don't know.
Man,
we don't know. I mean, the bottom line is, I got other friends that you know were taking fentanyl, and you know they told me their stories, and the one thing they told me, they said, "Mark, that is one addictive drug. When you get on that, it's hard to function. Not only is it hard to function, it's hard to get off." This is what I was told by close friends of mine. Now, you couple that with a personality of a completely private individual,
right,
who don't let nobody into his private life.
right.
Heck, he monitored every picture that went out on the internet, let alone his music and everything else. So he had a very private life, but now he has to hide this ugly thing called fentanyl from the public. And the sad thing about it was, no, he was not a drug user. No, he was not that kind of guy. He was in pain. He had a bad hip. And it was tragic because the fentanyl, that coupled with pride, being a private person,
Right.
when you're on that stuff, you got to cry for help. You got to cry loud.
I will tell you this as a person that has 2 titanium hips. When hip pain is no joke.
Yeah.
And we know how physical a performer he was.
Absolutely.
And off of speakers, going down in the splits and all the things that I tried to mimic. That's why I have 2 bad hips or 2 new ones. But yeah, that isolation coupled with the addiction is a recipe for disaster. And but I still can't believe he's gone.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
It's really hard to believe.
Mhm.
So the revolution was outplaying. COVID-19 hit, shut everything down. No concerts, no anything. But when you guys first got back together and started playing, we're going to close here in about 5 minutes or so. But I had to have you go through that. That part of the story, man. And but you guys are playing, and when it is, was it weird at first doing it again, and did it stop being weird finally, or was it ever weird?
I mean, it's like riding a bike when it comes to just what we do. I mean, that's what we do. But the weirdness came when it's just trying to figure out, how do we handle that lead singer spot? See, that's what that was hard, because we don't want to insult the fans. We love the fans.
That's right.
Prince has a beautiful fan base, be it MPG, Revolution, you name it. We don't want to insult them. So what we had to do was figure out, how do we do this in a way where they won't be insulted and we don't lose any dignity.
Right.
And yet we can represent what we all created and help build this purple kingdom, this purple reign. But do it in a dignified way that people could appreciate. So that was a monumental task for all of us, but we figured it out. And
almost impossible. I mean, almost impossible, but you guys did.
Yeah, we figured it out. When they found out that I could sing, I done taught myself how to sing, that was half the battle right there. Because, they didn't know that about me, the rest of the Revolution. So we're in rehearsal and I just started, "Where my love like," I started just, and they're like, "What?" They're like, "What?" And it's like, "Oh, he can sing." And so that kind of changed things, because what better than to have just us singing? See, Wendy and Lisa, Mountains, and some of the songs with the higher voice. So we figured all that out.
Yep.
And we figured out how to make it work. But then there was some songs we couldn't hit.
Right.
Like Uptown and and some
Stokely, where you at? Stokely.
That's where Stokely came from.
Yeah.
And we knew Prince loved Stokely.
Yep.
So it was like, it's got to be somebody that worked with Prince, that Prince loved and Prince appreciated. But we went to Stokely, and Stokely was even like, there was some big shoes to fill. So Stokely was like,
Stokely's a bad man.
Bad man. He was like, Mark, man, I don't know, man. He says, if I do it, man, I gotta be able to do it right. I said, man, you gonna blow this up, man. I said, this is how we gonna do it. And then so we tried him. He said he was gonna do it, and so we invited him to that first show. It was a Vegas show that we did. Man, he tore the stage down. And from that point forward, we had the perfect recipe to bring this to the people. Yeah, and we knew we had it.
Yeah. I've seen video. I was planning to get to one of you guys' shows this year. And then, of course, COVID-19 hit, and we're on lockdown, and hopefully we get a vaccine soon, and we can get out of this stuff. But I am so glad to see you guys out there being a true living tribute.
Yeah.
And I hope it is healing for you guys to play. the
Absolutely.
music, man. I mean, I know there are a lot of dynamics to the relationships that you all had with him, and who he had with everybody.
Absolutely.
But eh, the legacy that he's left,
Absolutely.
and the fact that you're a huge part of it, and because the revolution is kind of like that, the die is cast.
Absolutely.
So this is you guys mark time.
Absolutely.
It's like that's that mark in time. It's like, okay, this is when he became an icon, and you guys were surrounding him as a band. Uh, is there something you would have liked to have told him, if you could have, that you would share with the audience?
Yeah. Call a brother, if you hurting,
Yeah,
if you got some stuff, I mean, you talk to me about everything else. Be 3 o'clock
yeah,
in the morning and he chatting about roller skating on Calhoun Park, but you can't tell me that you in trouble. I mean, it's like I wish I can just tell him. I wish I could have told him, look, man, open line. I'm all ears. Just talk to me, you know. But that was hard to do. I don't care how close you were to him, because he did not let people in. He just did not do it. That was part of who he was and what made him such an unbelievable character and musician, and this, this figure,
yeah.
this superstar. It was because of the way he carried himself. See? And so there's nothing that you could do if you can't get in. Now some of the females are a little different, that were associated with him. He would speak to them a little differently, but I talked to a few of them, and I think it's the same thing though. It's he only lets you in so far, and then he's not giving up any more info about his life
Right.
and what he's going through. So, but that's what if I could say one thing to him, that's what I would have said. Call a brother.
That's simple.
Mhm.
Straight to the point and appropriate because of what he was going through.
Absolutely.
I think that's when you need a friend. You don't need somebody giving you advice. They just I'm here to listen.
Absolutely. And that's the kind of guy I've always been for him. Because I wasn't wasn't like I could say anything. It's like his famous line to me was, Mark, I'm always right. And even when I'm wrong, I'm right. That was his famous line to me. He always said that to me. And I was like, I know, Prince, I got you. So I was always just a listening ear for him, always.
Right.
And I
Right.
was a source of I would help give him that, you know, I was like that, the clown that came out before the bull rider, or before the
Right.
matador. I revved the crowd up. That was my
Right.
job, to go out there and entertain. His job was to slay the bull, and that's what he did. And so I always knew my place with him. And so when he would talk to me, I already understood what it was.
And you were okay with that role.
I was okay with it. Yeah.
I mean, and
When
that's
I wasn't okay with it, that's when I left. So,
right.
and he was cool with that. That's what kind of dude he was. He was really cool.
Wow,
Hmm.
that's a great story, man. That is a great story. Now you've got this book coming out. Let's tell people about the book again. Life in the Purple Kingdom. My Life in the Purple Kingdom. Uh, Give sprinkle a little more, because we got people out here that they're watching this, and we want to get you as many pre-orders as possible.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
there is Give us a little anecdote, if you would, if you didn't mind, if you some of the things you're going to be talking about.
You know, I wrote this book. It's got to be about, at least, I started on it in the 80s, but I really started actually compiling and actually putting all the pieces together about 12, maybe 13, 14 years ago.
Ah,
And I went to Prince and I said, I'm writing a book. And he was like, you're writing a book? I said, I'm writing a book, man. And he said, I know you're gonna let me read it before you put it out, right? And I said, of course. I said, you're gonna have the first copy.
Yeah.
I already knew if he didn't like it, he was gonna try to, talk me out of it. And then, at that point, we would have just had another discussion. Kiss, girls and boys.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but um, only people that know us know what that is. So, but
Right.
anyways, so I started writing that book back then because I went through so much in my life that a lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people are like, dang, man, you done been through so many different, you had a rough life.
Mm,
And, what better therapy than to just tell your story?
right.
And then I put it on the shelf. And when he passed away, I had to put it on the shelf. And when things got a little mellower for me where I could focus, I said, people need to hear this story
Right.
because it is a story of human greatness and human tragedy. It is a story of no matter who you are, you're still a human being. You got feelings and you respond just like a human. I don't care if you're a megastar, I don't care what you are, president, it doesn't matter. You still, we everybody's stuff stink. And so,
Right.
that's my book tells that story. I don't cut no corners. I tell it like it is. I don't care who doesn't like it. I don't care who's mad at me. I'm just telling my story.
Yeah.
And it's a good story. And it's a story that brings nothing but praise and honor to my boy Prince because he was an integral part of my life. But I don't sugarcoat. He was not perfect. He was not a god, and he had his problems too. And so I tell that story. We were the Brady Bunch, and I was always hollering, "Marsha, Marsha, Marsha." I was that one, But that was the dynamics of us,
Right.
and it's a funny story. And
Because we're a family.
we were a family, and so what I do is I take people through a whole roller coaster of emotions from the time I was 6 years old all the way up to the time where I quit the band. It was a rags to riches story.
Hmm.
And so I think people will really like it. Most of the journalists that I talk to that have reviewed it, they love it and they have nothing but good things to say about it. So it's a must read. I think everybody should definitely check it out. And I think everybody is going to like it.
That's good to hear. We cannot wait. My Life in the Purple Kingdom. Connie Hollins is asking, do you talk to Des?
I haven't talked to Dez. I haven't talked to him in a couple about, maybe 4 years, 3, 4 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Funny story. Des and I actually spent some time together in Minneapolis. Back in 2010, we did a Minneapolis tribute, Minneapolis Sound tribute show at the Caboose, I believe.
Okay.
And he came and played, and Kirk was in the show, and Kirk Johnson, and it was a bunch.
Okay.
It was a bunch of us playing everything.
Okay.
And Des came in and played. I got a chance to spend some time with him. Cool brother, man. I
Yeah,
was like,
he's a cool cat, man. I like Dez.
yeah, man, really good guy.
I
He
don't
told
think,
me some stories too.
oh yeah, man. Dez got some stories. I don't think there's anybody in the camp. I don't care, MPG, you name it, man. I'm friends with all of them. Me and Sonny T, we go back. Me and Morris Hayes go way back. I mean,
Morris Hayes, yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, so we a big family. Yeah, it's fragmented a little bit because you got a lot of the inner stuff but that's it. Like I said, the Brady Bunch is just bigger now. There's more adoptions. it just became bigger as the years went on. But we all one big purple family, and I'm hoping one day we'll all get together and do a fabulous, huge concert with all of us.
Yes, because look, what you guys did at the that Grammy salute was dope. Glad y'all were there, but I am wanting a true, legit Minneapolis, homegrown MPG Revolution tribute concert, man. I mean, getting all of you guys on stage.
Yeah.
Doing it, man. That's the thing I'm waiting for.
It's gonna happen. If I don't pull it off, I know somebody else will. But there's, I know I'm working on it. I got my own plans for it, but it's all about raising the funds, because that's now you talk about a monumental task. That's a big one.
That's gonna be,
but it's gonna get pulled off. It's gonna get done.
You need to find a sponsor.
Yeah. Well, you need more than a sponsor. we gonna need a bank. We gonna need Wells Fargo or somebody to come in and drop some of them.
That's right. Bricks. Maybe we can get Wells Fargo to sponsor. They could just pay for the whole thing. That would be good.
Exactly.
The banks are doing fine right now. Everybody else is struggling.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the thing right now. But listen, man. Thank you. And once again, you can pre-order BrownMark's book, My Life in the Purple Kingdom, on Amazon right now. You can be one of the first to have it. And too bad we can't get out and have you sign things and do a tour.
We're working on it.
Yeah, figure something out.
Yeah.
Working on it, where you can meet up with your fans. I can't wait to get the book. And because you are the quiet guy in the band, and so if anybody has questions about anybody, it's you. It's you. It's like, oh, that's
now loud mouth. Now I got the biggest mouth in the band.
Wow,
I don't have anybody telling me to shut up anymore. So I talk too much.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So I know that's already fascinating for people who have always thought of you as quiet and shy and all of that, and that everyone has a story, man. And so I appreciate you spending time with me, man, and I hope we can do it again down the road. Keep in touch with me as far as whatever you're doing. I want to help promote your book as well on everything that we do. So it's very important that we support one another in all of our efforts.
Absolutely. And tell all the fans too. Tell the fans, if they want to follow what anything that's new coming up and what's going on, to go to BrownMarkOfficial.com.
BrownMarkOfficial.com. BrownMarkOfficial.com. Let me do this real quick. Let me see here. BrownMarkOfficial.com. I'm gonna put that up on the screen real quick.
And I'd like everybody to check out my new single, Empty Handed, because that's out now. And we're getting ready to do another relaunch campaign for it. So
there it is.
There you go.
BrownMarkOfficial.com. The official means it's not it's live. It's Memorex. It's not, it's live. It's not Memorex. So that's where you go. I wanted to go out on this song because I also saw a video of you killing this. You were killing this. One of my favorites. It's one of my favorites of all time. One of my favorite songs by him all time. BrownMark, thank you, man, for being on Story Behind the Music, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, man. That was BrownMark. We appreciate him coming on the show tonight. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back again. And we do this every other week. And so we'll see you. Remember to be kind to one another. Love one another until we meet again. God bless you.